Atezr P20 laser sitting right here in front of me. I've been asked by several viewers, how come you never show anything using the Atezr P20? Well, the reason is, since I've gotten this, I've used it pretty much exclusively for engraving on doors. And obviously you can't do it with the door upright. You have to take the door off the hinges, you lay it out on sawhorses. I could take the laser, set it on there, get everything set, and I can engrave what this particular customer wants on these different doors. So that's what I've been doing with this in the past. So that project is all done, so I'm going to get back to using it here in the shop. So one of the things I need to do is put it on a baseboard like I do with all my lasers and engrave a grid. Layout grid. This has a 430 millimeter working area, nice and big. I designed a grid, and I'm going to show you how we do this and everything, and that there'll be a link in the description at the end on where you can go to our website and you can download this layout grid for the P20 free. It's no charge for it. And it is a Lightburn file, so you do need to have Lightburn for that. Well, the first thing I'm going to do here is mount this to a piece of 1/2-inch MDF. This piece of MDF is 30 inches square, and I 3D printed some mounts. And if you would like to get a hold of these mounts, I'll put a link in the description for those as well. You can get those from our website. So first thing you need to do here is get this kind of squared up, grab some screws, grab some tools, and get this thing mounted. Okay, the way these work is they fit over the corner here, as you can see here. And if you should desire, there are some holes here where you could drill some holes through the mounting legs and really permanently mount this. But I want to keep it so it's portable so I can take it on and off in case I get another job to do another bunch of doors. So it's just a matter of slipping that right in there, like so. And these mounts do raise the laser up a skosh. I'm using number 6 by 3/4 screws to mount this to the baseboard. I have everything squared up here. I had my finger underneath to make sure it didn't come through, and it doesn't, but it's close. You don't want to over tighten these because you could break this or strip it out in the MDF. MDF isn't the stoutest material in the world. Here, I've got my board all mounted here, and I've got this all clean, and I did do kind of a quick sand on it, hence a little bit of dust. One thing you're going to need to do is focus this on the baseboard. This will really be bringing the grid down here. So if you're not familiar with the Atezr P20, you drop this little kickstand down, make sure it drops all the way down, loosen the knob on the back, lower that down until it just touches, tighten your knob back up, and up you go with the kickstand. Don't forget to do that, especially if you're engraving an item, because it'll catch it and drag it around. So it's a little noisy. I got the air assist pump on, and it's not the quietest pump in the world. So I'll get loaded here, and I'll show you what I'm going to be engraving. Here we are in Lightburn. This is what we're going to be engraving. It's a 430 millimeter square grid. It looks just like this. The settings, now this is 420 watt, is the first set of lines, that's the black ones there, will engrave at 5,000 millimeters per minute with 40% power, 2 passes. The next line, which is red, which makes kind of a crosshatch grid on there with spacing of 50 millimeters apart, kind of helps when you're doing layouts. That is 5,000 millimeters per minute, but at 50% power with 2 passes, that will make that line darker. And then the numbers I've got set for offset fill, 4,000 millimeters per minute at 40% power. Now, one thing you're going to want to do is frame this. Actually, you want to center it. Make sure you have it centered here. If you don't know how to do that, you highlight the graphic. This is all grouped. You go up here to this little black cross, and that will put it in center. I'm working from absolute coordinates. So we'll get back onto the camera here. We'll frame this to make sure it fits. I know it will because I recently did a test on here, but we'll frame it anyway. I don't have the air assist pump on right now. I will run it when I engrave this because it keeps the lens clean and kind of blows away the smoke and everything. I also need to turn my exhaust fan on before I get going here, but the first thing we need to do here is frame this. And if you're working in inches, this is 16.8898 inches square, roughly, 430 millimeters. So I did a test recently on showing how to check your work area, and I used this laser on that little test. I'll link the video at the end here, how to establish your actual engraving area. So I am framing this to make sure I have my full 430 millimeters square. I know I do, because as I said, I did a video on this. But you want to do that first, just to make sure that you can go your full 430 millimeters each way. So there we are, success. All I need to do now is I need to turn my air assist on. This is going to make some noise. And I'll hit start. So it may look like it skipped a line there, and yes it did. But that is the next layer, and that will engrave darker. And as I mentioned before, every 50 millimeters there will be a darker line, as well as the outside perimeter is darker. We have an X that kind of marks the center, and plus I have some layout circles. Those will also be engraved darker. This does generate quite a bit of smoke, and I do not have an enclosure that this will fit in. This is a pretty good sized laser here. I do have an enclosure, my Mature Laser Master 3, which you can see back over there. I've got the lid open on it, and I've got the exhaust fan running, and it's doing a semi-adequate job of pulling the smoke out of here. Because it's too cold outside to be opening the shop door like I would do in good weather and just let all the smoke go outside. Total engrave time on this is a little over 23 minutes. And there's the completed layout grid. Did smoke it up in here just a little bit. I'll give it a minute here to let the exhaust fan clear it. Okay, got a little bit of smoke hanging in the air here, but it's not too bad. And in a couple minutes, the fan will take the rest of that out. Like I say, ideally, this should have been in an enclosure, since I have all the doors shut in here. But I don't have an enclosure this fits in, because this is bigger than my enclosures are. And I've got the fabric enclosures, as you saw with the one or two here. I've got a Comgrow up in the loft. I may build an enclosure for this. Well, we'll see. I like these little portable soft ones here that I can fold up and put out of the way, because In the summertime, when I can have the shop doors open, I do not operate these in enclosures because I need to be able to swap parts around quickly. Another question I'm probably going to get is, okay, if you were engraving on doors, why didn't you shoot video of that? Well, there's a little thing called a non-disclosure agreement. The company I was doing this for, and these were steel doors, just flat steel doors that were painted, and then I should say etched, engraved the paint, etched the paint, whatever, some names and designs on these doors. And I was not even allowed to have a cell phone with me, nothing that could take a picture or do anything like that, and I can't reveal the graphics I used or where it was or any of that stuff. It's a secret, and I have to keep it that way. But something to think about. It's a laser project you could do with your laser. If you wanted to engrave something on a door, a flat door will work best. Just take it off the hinges, lay it flat on a sawhorse, and get your laser set on there, get everything set and squared, and kind of an idea. It's not something that I originally planned on doing, but I was asked if I could do it, and I did. So that's where this laser has been for quite a while, was working on those projects. Now that that's over, got it back in the shop here, I did go back and add a 4 1/4 inch square to the center of this, because sometimes I prototype these ceramic tiles, and I do have a laser set up with an actual grid on it that I could just set them all on and do them at once. But sometimes I like to do a prototype, so if this is out and handy, I'll set the tile on there and use it. It's just a matter of setting it right in my little square I added to the engrave there, and it sets in there just perfect, and then it's dead center. You can do that with any type of material you repeat with. That's one of the reasons the circles are in there, for round coasters and so on. And you can make that any dimension you want. You can always add another circle or add a square or add any graphics you need on there. So again, this is not sponsored, by the way. This is all my stuff. The mounting blocks, they'll be available on our website. I'll put a link in the description. This was originally a file from Thingiverse that I made some modifications to better fit the laser here. So you can find something similar to this on Thingiverse, it's just not exactly the same thing. There'll also be a link in the description where you can download this 430mm square grid, layout grid for Lightburn from our website. It's free, there's no charge for it. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up, always helps the channel, and of course we're always looking for subscribers, like every YouTuber. Thanks for watching. I'm Roger in the shop. See you in the next one.